Let's see. I call.
You call what?
I call. We're playing cards.
That's not how you play Pokemon cards, dude.
Poker, right? Pokermon.
This is a really sad attempt at humor. No, that is not how you play Pokemon cards.
Oh.
But you know what we should do? We should go see the new Detective Pikachu movie because
We should.
A good Pokemon movie always includes amazing battles and amazing catching of them all.
Except, that's not how you make a good Pokemon movie.
It's not. Don't know why I went Kevin McAllister.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Philly Film Brothers podcast. I am Chris Pierdomenico, here with my brother
Dave Pierdomenico. And this time, we're here with Pokemon cards. Eh?
I was so excited. We went to the theater today to see Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and they didn't give us the cards at first, and I said, we got to go back and get the cards. And I've not seen something like this in a long time.
I have not opened a pack of Pokemon cards since, 1999.
That long?
Okay, maybe, 2000, 2001. It's all...
I collected a little bit later. I was always kind of...
Until, last week, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not ashamed.
In fact, when I told him we were going to see it, I'm not lying. The first thing he said was, "We're going to get the cards, right? Right?"
Yeah.
You would have walked away with them without seeing the movie, wouldn't you? It was worth it just for the cards.
It was half worth it. You were screaming. I don't know how you scream with your voice so... you have no realization of how you sound. Anyway.
I am recovering from a cold, but my voice and my screaming is unaffected.
Yes. So... I love that they have, it's the same exact design.
That was really cool.
From, I guess it was 98, 99 is when they came to America. And so you could I know the rules have changed. I mean, gosh, I think probably the last cards I bought were in 2002 or 2003. And I think they've changed the rules. You can't really do much with them now, but I mean, they look like they would really fit. So
I will say, I don't remember Detective Pikachu being a Pokemon,
but he's new,
and I don't remember Charmander being this useless. His only move is Reckless Charge, and it's not even requiring a fire one, and he does damage to himself.
He's reckless though. That's why he's a Reckless Charge, and you can still evolve that theoretically.
Shakespeare over here.
You can still evolve that Charmander into a Charizard from the base set. I would think that was the Charizard that was worth a lot of money. So let's talk about the movie.
It is not. I mean, if you've seen the trailers, but it's not what you would have initially expected from a Pokemon movie.
I kind of had a feeling it was going in this direction, and maybe I've just seen a lot of films that I can predict things pretty well. I
mean, it was basically Who Framed Roger Rabbit with Pokemon.
Essentially. And I do want to preface, we will be getting into spoilers here. When I saw the trailer and even seeing the movie itself, it's clearly made for Pokemon fans. It's made for, I want to be clear, it's clearly a kid's movie.
But it's made with, Ryan Reynolds casting alone means they are also aiming at that older, sarcastic audience, which you would think Ryan Reynolds' type of humor wouldn't work with Pokemon.
But it
does.
It really does work. It's very entertaining. I guess is the best I can say. And Reynolds is really giving it his all.
I mean, it's the closest he is to it's like PG Deadpool the way he plays.
Kind of,
Pikachu.
but he plays him I think with more warmth. I wasn't really thinking of Deadpool when I was watching Pikachu.
See, I can't hear that voice and not.
Yeah. But it's what I love about the movie. When we started watching it, I think all Pokemon fans will do this, is you're looking around and you're oh yeah, there's that Pokemon, and there's, which one is that? And to be fair,
that was cool,
to be fair, I know up to Generation 2, so I played Pokemon Red and Blue and Gold and Silver, and after that, I know them pretty well up to that point. And after that, I didn't really play them too much.
So we both felt old when we saw some of those weird looking ones, What on earth is that?
Yeah.
I do not remember that being a Pokemon.
And I recognize them, and I know some of their names, but I'm not nearly as familiar. And I think what the movie does really well is that it really seamlessly blends all the different generations together. Of course, Generation 1's always going to be the most popular, because, I mean, that's the iconic generation. But it does a really... It's the movie itself is just fan service in a lot of ways.
It is. It creates the world that everyone who grew up playing Pokemon, the games and the cards, wish they could have lived.
That's exactly what it is. Like it is totally like a wish fulfillment kind of thing.
And the whole detective story really just, that's just sort of one story you could tell in this world. I got the sense that there's a million movies you could have done in this world.
They used to, I think they may still do this in Japan, they release a Pokemon movie every year. So there are many, 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 many stories.
Not one like this.
Yeah. So I love seeing all the Pokemon that I knew. I love that a lot of times that they use the same sound bite, the same voices from the show.
That was
cool. Just like, not only just Pikachu, but hearing Jigglypuff, like, I mean, it's literally the same sound from the show, and
we have some of the stars of the movie right here.
Yeah. And the only one I was kind of disappointed with was now Bulbasaur is my favorite Pokemon, and I was really hoping he would speak like he does on the show, and he didn't. So that was and there's more than one Bulbasaur, and they have a great scene, but
you were hoping to see more.
I was hoping for I just wanted to hear and say Bulbasaur, like that.
I mean, I
love
know as far as fan service goes, they show Mewtwo, they show Gyarados. Pikachu, stop falling.
He's had too much coffee.
Wouldn't that do the opposite?
I guess that hasn't enough coffee. Anyway, you were saying?
They show Gyarados, they show Mewtwo, they show Charizard in all his glory.
And the movie's kind of sort of the anti-Pokemon battle. Like, they don't really push that too often. And I imagine in the world we live in, they probably we don't want to seem like we're being cruel to animals.
It's a very different world than it was even 20 years ago.
Well, and also that it's not animated. It's I think you get away with more if it's animated. So I like the premise of
where at least now this was only true in Rhyme City. The rest of the world, they still battle them, but in Rhyme City, it's more like you just have a Pokemon that is your companion, and people and Pokemon just live together.
And that's the thing, is that it totally embraces that world that you're familiar with the game and the anime. Again, you feel like you're in that world, and that's the world that we kind of imagined we were in. And I think
a world that is called Rhyme City, but amazingly it looks just like Tokyo.
I know, yeah, it's basically Tokyo, and the design is great, and you really believe. He's like so excited. Look at that.
I know, he's so excited. He keeps falling over.
Maybe like lean him against Jigglypuff.
Squirtle, hold them up.
There we go. Now, interestingly enough, there were different elements here. So they took a bit from Pokemon the first movie, and I liked that. I thought that was
now,
a nice.
Did you feel like, does this movie exist in that universe?
Because I did.
They mention, Mewtwo first escaped 20 years ago, right around the time Pokemon the first movie came out. Is that canon here?
I think it could. I think it's supposed to be, because
that opens up a whole new, set of ideas.
Well, in what they say is, and I heard this very clearly, they say, like, oh, this Mewtwo escaped from Kanto 20 years ago. Kanto is the location.
Kanto was the continent of the original Pokemon,
games,
as opposed to Johto, which was Gold and Silver.
Right, and
which I didn't play any.
And there's every game generation.
Every game adds a new continent.
Like
Columbus on acid.
And so now, in the game, he always came from Kanto, so it could have been just referring to the game. But I like to think that this is still
like that's
the Pokemon that Giovanni had created, because I thought that they were creating him, but no, they had captured him,
or that this Mewtwo was one who, after everything he did in the first Pokemon movie, had learned from it, and he was now wiser and more compassionate for it.
And I got that sense because he wasn't. They don't really nobody really knows who Mewtwo is, but they like it becomes like at first you think like he's angry at he's kind of in the first movie where
but he's not.
He's mad at humanity, but he's not. He's trying to help. He's a good guy, and I like
twist.
that. Yeah, that's the twist.
That's one of the twists.
I really like how they incorporated Mewtwo because they could have done the same thing again, and
I'll say this: I loved what they did with this character. I couldn't get past when Bill Nye takes control of Mewtwo's body and he's talking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Seeing Mewtwo talk and seeing his teeth was weird.
Well,
because when he speaks, his mouth is closed, and it's like he's speaking through telepathy. And it was just weird to see his mouth
Yeah,
move.
I thought that too, because in all the previous incarnations, Mewtwo's mouth does not move.
And his teeth were really shiny white. Does he use tooth whitener?
Well, he is probably related to Sonic the Hedgehog. I think that's the point.
That's why. Okay.
the teeth are a genetic engineering thing. So I like that the Mewtwo story was incorporated, but it wasn't exactly the one we saw before, which I thought was great.
If anything, it was a continuation. So, fans could just go see this movie, never having seen the first one, and not getting that reference, but then fans like you would be like, oh, this is... That same Mewtwo 20 years later.
I really like to think it's the same canon.
I'm going to believe it is.
Yeah. It's all these little references, all these, like, you have to watch the movie more than once
just to catch
see, because you're looking, oh, yeah, that Pokemon. And it's extraordinarily nostalgic, and it's a very, if you're a fan of the games, it's, if you're a fan of the franchise at all, it's just very, very enjoyable.
It's just a fun world to visit for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like a great escape. I like that they made this like a Pokemon noir.
Kind of, in that
a lot of ways.
It's set in that world, but it's a gritty detective story with dealing with the seedy underbelly.
And they play that up, and they play up the tropes, and Ryan Reynolds is great in that he kind of makes fun of those tropes a little bit. But I just thought it was an interesting combination that, hey, let's combine the world of Pokemon with like a detective noir story.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Now, in that light, it does all the cliches.
Yeah.
But it doesn't subvert all of them. It still has, obviously this guy's going to end up being the bad guy.
Yeah, I knew when we saw the first two guys on TV. I'm like, one or both of those guys is the bad guy. Now I kind of was surprised at who it was. I thought that the son was going to be the bad guy, but it was actually the father that was the bad guy. And there's a lot of stuff with fathers in this.
I knew he was going to be the bad guy when I saw it was Bill Nye playing him. Yeah. I don't think he's ever played a good guy.
Davy Jones. Well, he played he was the stepfather in Shaun of the Dead. I mean,
he was a jerk.
But they liked him though. In the end, he kind of found redemption. So
he's a good actor. Look him up. Not Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye with a Y at the end.
I got to tell you that I was suspicious even before they revealed. I can't even think of this character. It's the bad guy, Bill Nye. Before he revealed what he was going to do. I had a very, very, very sneaking suspicion that Detective Pikachu was the main character's dad. Did you think that too?
It didn't occur to me, but it should have.
I picked up on it
because it made sense as to why he's wisecracking. Because why else? And even going into this, you think, why did they make Pikachu wisecracking Ryan Reynolds? I guess they're doing it as a joke, but no, it actually makes sense.
They made it make sense
to the story that's his real father.
You know how,
and that's why they never showed his father's face in the flashbacks.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they were gonna make him dead or something. I for a while I thought maybe Mewtwo was keeping him captive or something. Because
at any point did you think Mewtwo was his father?
I don't think so. I don't think I was there. I did think Mewtwo might be like the villain or like the sub-villain, and then I liked that they made him not. But you know what gave it away?
What's that?
When they're sitting on the bench, I think it's after the main. What is the main character's name?
Justice Smith. Pikachu. Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu was really upbeat and charismatic. The son didn't quite live up to that. He was okay, but ultimately...
I mean, he plays a straight man, that's...
He does,
and you need that.
But, even the girl he liked, that reporter lady, Lucy.
Right.
Which I only remember that because that's my daughter's name.
Yeah, right, yeah.
she felt like she had more of a screen presence than he did.
Well, and I go back to it is a kids movie, and I don't think that those characters were terribly complex
because they weren't meant. So they weren't
supposed to be. I had a strong suspicion that Detective Pikachu was actually the father when they're sitting outside, and I think it was when they find out that I think it's when the police chief says, "There's no way your father could have survived that." Pikachu says, I don't know what to do. If I was your dad, I would give you a big hug. And I thought, that's when I missed that. And maybe I don't know if I've just seen so many movies now that I'm just
you recognize this.
I'm picking up when there's a twist. Like it's getting harder to surprise me.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if you feel the same way. Well, I think it's more common. This is the Sixth Sense kind of syndrome where there's always a twist of some kind, and so I'm usually always kind of looking for it. But it worked though. My only complaint was with that. I love that it's actually Ryan Reynolds in the end. That's
like actually him in the flesh as his dad. That was
cool. I want to kind of a little bit more of him and his son kind of working stuff out.
In a weird way, I felt like at that end scene, the Ryan Reynolds we saw in person was not the same Ryan Reynolds we heard in Pikachu. He seemed much calmer, more down to earth, not wisecracking Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but I think he realized it was his son, though.
Maybe.
And I think he was more moved emotionally, but it was very sweet. It was very
it was heartfelt.
The whole concept that the Pikachu kind of sacrificed himself, and he came back later, of course. Which I was going to get a little upset if that meant that Pikachu was dead now.
Yeah, because that was Ryan Reynolds' partner.
That was his partner
through all that.
I like that the Pikachu was the one that asked Mewtwo, let him live with me for now, and they were able to work that out. A lot of screen time for Generation 1 Pokemon. I think they got the majority of the screen time. You have Pikachu, Psyduck, Mewtwo,
Jigglypuff in that.
Briefly, but I'm saying that.
But they revisited her multiple times.
But I'm saying there's a lot of those are cameos. But for some Pokemon that we see on screen a lot, you have Pikachu, you have Mewtwo, you have Psyduck, you have Ditto got a lot of screen time, and apparently Ditto can impersonate humans,
which is kind of a creepy.
It's a kind of a creepy thing, and but I love that they stay true to the franchise, because you could tell it's a Ditto because he's got those beady eyes,
Speaking of eyes and all that, how did you feel about the visuals, how the Pokemon looked?
Well, I gotta tell you, I really feel like this movie would not have happened without Pokemon Go.
Probably not, because the whole they're very CGI, and they're the type of CGI that you can tell they're not really trying to make them look photorealistic at all.
No, they tried a little bit. I when Pikachu is near death and he has to get healed by Mewtwo. He really, there's a lot of great detail on the fur. I think Pikachu looked the best.
Did you see all the other ones though?
I know.
They looked more like they were taken out of a completely CGI animated movie. But
they look like they came out of Pokemon Go.
And I think you're right that Pokemon. First of all, it wouldn't have happened without Pokemon Go, because that, in a lot of ways, Pokemon Go really kind of revamped interest in Pokemon again.
Well, and I think it created this concept of Pokemon in the real world, and I think that's what
it planted the idea
of Pokemon in the real world,
just like Inception.
Yes.
Cue the booming music.
Yeah. Anyway. So I think Pokemon Go got people excited about Generation 1 again.
And about kind of getting them used to seeing them occupy real space in front of them.
Because in some ways, this is Pokemon Go the movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
In some sense, it is. I know because and me being the Pokemon nerd that I am, when he goes to catch Cubone in the beginning of the movie, his friend talks him into that. I'm like, dude, you have to weaken the Cubone first before you throw the Pokeball.
In a weird way, did that scene not play out like two friends in the real world one trying to convince the other one to get into Pokemon Go.
Because
I
kind of did.
I never downloaded it.
Oh yeah?
No, I was one of the few people that I never got into it.
I was into it for the summer that everybody else was, and then
everyone was only like after a month or two, it just interest in it just plummeted.
Just life kind of happened, but
it just showed how quickly internet trends come and go. But
as far as the CGI, it works for this. That's I wasn't. It didn't take me out of it because I thought it was done well enough that you do kind of suspend your disbelief.
In this world, I can see that. I remember when the trailer first came out, I was a little disappointed. Like, when I saw Charizard for the first time, I thought, he doesn't, like, he looks like one of the things out of Pixels. Like, he looks so pixelated. He doesn't look like he's really there. And
well, see, they tried the opposite thing years ago. If you remember a little movie called Super Mario Brothers. Do you remember what Yoshi looked like in that? They wanted to go more realistic.
That was hardly the only problem that movie had.
I understand that, but
you can't say that as the whole reason why that movie failed.
I didn't say it was the whole reason.
There were many other reasons.
I'm just saying that that did not help. Okay, and I didn't want to. Well, it's the same issue they're talking about now with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, where they're saying that they made Sonic look too realistic in some. Like, they gave him teeth and they gave him all this fur.
He doesn't look real though. He looks.
But the attempt was to make him look more real.
But there's a difference between attempting to make it look real and failing miserably, and actually making it look real.
I think for the most part, I think with Sonic, I think with Pokemon, you want them to look like the characters, and I think this movie did it better than Sonic is going to with.
And I'll tell you one of the reasons for Sonic is, in this movie, it's an entire world you're inhabiting that looks like that. So you more easily suspend your disbelief because this is just the world as it is. There's Pokemon everywhere. In Sonic, it's just him in a world
so far
in a world of everything else looking real.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen it. We don't know how it'll turn out. I am very curious, one way or the other.
Yeah, as we all are. But I think what kind of gets me, this was a very enjoyable film.
Yeah, it was.
If you like Pokemon at all,
I'm seeing it again this weekend.
It's. I'm not going to say like it's the greatest film ever made, but it's just very enjoyable and heartwarming.
Oh yeah, it's a fun movie to kind of just sit back, relax, and escape into a fun world full of colors that looks remarkably like Tokyo.
And it makes you feel like a kid again. That's what I got, I think, the most out of. And it also made me think, hey, you know what? We can have some good video game movies now. One
of the few.
So I think back, and I'm going to be writing a review on this. It's probably already out by the time this video comes out, but
hopefully it's out soon. We'll see.
But I think there were some issues with the plot. There were some.
That's what I mean. It followed a lot of the same clunky cliches of detective stories.
It did, and they did. The main characters did speak in exposition quite a few times. But aside from that, like, it just you forget all that. It's just it's Pokemon World Pokemon World the movie, Pokemon Go the movie.
Roger Rabbit.
With Roger Rabbit, with Ryan Reynolds as the Roger Rabbit character, how can you not have a good time if you love Pokemon?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you have believed this movie would come out, say, 10 years ago? There's going to be a Pokemon movie where Ryan Reynolds does the voice of Pikachu.
Well, 10 years ago, what was Ryan Reynolds doing then? He was...
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what?
And he was still 2 years away from his magnum, not opus, his magnum disaster with Green Lantern. That was 2011.
Well,
he's come a long way.
You know what I think it is? I think why we're getting movies like this now is because I think that first of all, nostalgia is huge. I think that is
more
one
than
of
ever.
that is big bank nostalgia, and I think that I think companies are realizing that if you give fan service, you'll get rewarded, and I think
doesn't always work for the better.
It doesn't, but if it's
earned or if it makes sense.
But I think what this movie did is that, this is going to be a total fan service movie, and and I think the Pokemon world is so out there that it just works. And I think maybe the nature of the games is that the games do take place in a real world of sorts. It just happened to be inhabited by Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So it's not. I don't think it's that much of a stretch to do a film like. You know what I mean? Like it's not
where everyone just kind of takes for granted. Yeah, there's Pokemon everywhere. He worked as an insurance operator. We still have insurance. We still have all the normal everyday things.
And the game had people working regular jobs. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a role-playing game. And I think if you were to tell me someday, if you were to tell me years ago that they're going to do a Pokemon movie someday that's live action, this is probably how I would have pictured it. It would have been something like this. And whereas with Sonic, and again, I'm not judging yet because I do want to see it, I wouldn't, if someone said Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be a movie, a live action movie, I wouldn't picture what they have.
I don't think anyone would have pictured that trailer.
Yeah.
Again, and it's legitimately curious to see how it turns out.
But it's this clash between kind of real world and video game world, and I think the video game world of Pokemon already resembled the real world a lot, and I think that made it easier.
I'll say this though. It's our last bit talking about Sonic. Detective Pikachu has set the bar really, really high.
Yeah.
And if Sonic turns out to be terrible, like a lot of people predict it will very easily get forgotten and swept under the rug by Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. Do you hope they do a sequel?
No. I hope they do another completely different movie set in that world.
Well, movie universes are big now, so maybe it would be interesting to do that. I think it'd be interesting if the next one, I hope they don't, but if they take from the second Pokemon movie with the three birds. Did you see Lugia had a brief cameo?
No, where was he?
He was a balloon.
Oh.
But that's it. You have to,
I'd love to see Team Rocket represented in this world.
That's the one thing.
As organized crime.
I'm wearing my Team Rocket hoodie I bought in Japan. I really wanted Team Rocket to be involved because when they find the
purple gas.
The purple gas, it has an R on it. I'm like, and I looked at you, I'm like,
that's what I thought too. Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's Team Rocket.
It's Team Rocket. All right, here we go.
And just never.
They don't. And I think
never panned out.
I think that might have been like an homage.
Maybe.
But it would have been nice to see somebody in a red R. I kept thinking because the company. See, I think they should treat Team Rocket in these movies like Hydra. In some way. And I think it would have been cool maybe if there was a reveal in the end, he actually is part of Team Rocket. That's why.
See, you know what? If they did that, though, it would have felt cheap.
You think so? I would have enjoyed it.
Next movie.
Maybe. Bring Team Rocket back.
Bring the Smash Brothers initiative.
Oh, gosh. The Smash Brothers initiative, as you know, started in 1993. When Samuel Jackson appeared at the end of the Super Mario Brothers movie and told Bob Hoskins about the Smash Brothers initiative.
And then Bob Hoskins said, I already regret doing this terrible movie. I never want to think of it again.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. If you have anything else.
No,
I think that covers it.
It was really entertaining. It was kind of what I expected, but in other ways, I wasn't expecting to love the world as much as I did. They really went all out with it. The production design and the art direction was just amazing.
Yeah, and every little thing in there was a reference, and it was a love letter to the fans, and I appreciated that very much. And God, 20 years of this, huh?
Yeah.
Here's to 20 more.
We'll see. one year at a time.
1 year at a time. Thanks for watching, Philly Film Brothers.
We'll be back next time with
who knows? Something.
Who knows?
Please subscribe if you have not already, and we'll see you next time.